Hi there, welcome back to my monthly update series. Every single month, I take some time to transparently share my YouTube metrics as well as my income and expenses as an online creator. I have a dream of one day quitting my day job and being a full-time YouTuber. This is the update video I share every month to help showcase how that's going and help other people who are also on a similar journey. Now, January was quite the exciting month, and I want to talk about a few things, but most specifically, I want to talk about how busy I was as well as the idea of burnout and what I'm trying to do to avoid that into the rest of the year. The way you start the year really sets the tone for the rest of your year, and I want to make sure I don't overdo it, especially right now when I have some extra time with YouTube not being too busy. The whole Kindle world right now is a bit calm, so I want to take it to my advantage. The first part of this video will be talking about income and expenses. This is probably the part that most people are interested in. As a YouTuber, I do make some money, and I want to explain how that works. Last month in January, I made a total income of $942.47. That was broken down into a few different categories. From affiliate income, things like Amazon and other affiliate websites that I'm a part of, I've gotten a total of $440.26. And then on top of that, I made $99 on my own product sales, which is primarily right now actually only my book club community. I made $100 last month just from that. And then lastly, most of my money came from YouTube AdSense, $403. So that was a great month for me in terms of consistent passive income. I'm really happy about that. I'll be talking more about this a little later in the video. Now, even though I made $940 last month, I did have quite a few expenses. Let me break that down. Last month, I had a total expense of $601.68. That was also broken down into a few different categories. In terms of my monthly subscriptions, these are the services I need to operate my life as a YouTuber. I had a monthly subscription cost of $107, which isn't that bad, honestly, but as my channel grows, these numbers may increase so I can support larger sizes, but we're not there yet. $107 a month isn't that bad. Now, on top of that, I also had a video editing expense. I've outsourced all my video editing, and last month I paid almost $200 in video editing expenses. So that's a really big one as well. I'm really happy I'm doing that though, because it saves me a lot of time from having to do that myself. Last month in January, I also spent $315 on product purchases. These are actually things like Kindles and Nooks. I bought those two things specifically. Last month, I got the Kindle Kids Edition. And I also am in the works right now of the Nook Glow Light 4 review that I'm making. So those two purchases, as well as a few other random things I'm sure, added up. And that is part of my expense for being a YouTuber. Lastly, though, I have a new category that I'm adding for this month, and that is a salary. I'm actually paying myself $1. Let me explain why I'm doing that. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I am on this goal right now to become a full-time YouTuber. And I think for the longest time now, I've kind of lost sight of that goal. I was just trying to grow my channel. But to actually become a YouTuber, you really have to focus on the money aspect of it. And this entire time, for the past year and a half now, I really have not taken a salary from YouTube. I've put every single cent back into the channel. It's all in the same bank account. I have a separate YouTube checking account, what I use for all of those expenses and whatnot. I haven't touched that. I haven't taken money out of it at all. It all just stays in there. And I think part of me really needs to experience paying myself in order to push myself a little bit more to make this a job. And when I start seeing that transfer from my YouTube account to my personal checking account, that will really motivate me to think of this as a salary that will one day replace my day job. It's a really small symbolic reminder, but I think it's really important. I got this idea from a book called The Minimalist Entrepreneur. It's a really great book, and I really enjoyed this concept of taking a $1 salary. So I'm gonna continue doing that. I'm also gonna continue increasing this number over time. What's the point of being a full-time creator if you aren't actually living off the money you're making? So even though I'm not making much right now, I still want to start that process. This next part of the video will be talking about my analytics and metrics for the month of January. The first thing I'll talk about is obviously my YouTube metrics. In January last month, I had over 105,000 views and total of 560 new subscribers. Right now, I'm around 12,700 subscribers, which is really great. but my growth has been slowing down a little bit, and that's mainly because I have not been posting 2 videos a week like I did last year. This is a very intentional choice. I've been very busy, which I'll be talking about later in this video, but because of that, I made the choice to cut down on my YouTube uploads temporarily. At least I do hope to get back to 2 videos a week, but for right now, 1 video and 1 good quality video is all I'm shooting for, but I do want to up that back up to 2 videos. YouTube is my primary platform. I just needed to take a little bit of a break from the constant work on YouTube. It does add up having that constant pressure on you to post a video and constantly be scripting, filming, or doing something else. I just needed to cut that back a little bit, and it really did help, and I have no regrets there. I do hope to get back to 2 videos a week, which will help with my growth metrics later in the year. The other major platform I want to talk about is Twitter. Now, last month in January, I ended the month at 543 followers. That's an increase of 19 followers from the previous month. Now, honestly, these are not earth-shattering numbers, but I do have a goal right now of tweeting once a day, and you have to start small. I'm really happy that even though I'm only tweeting 1 little thing every day, it is resulting in some growth, and I do think this will compound throughout the rest of the year. I am trying my best to post high-quality tweets that help people and encourage people to read more books. Check me out on Twitter if you haven't already, but that is my Twitter update right now. I'll be talking more about Twitter in terms of my struggles later in the video. One other platform I want to talk about is my email newsletter. Now, my email newsletter is actually really important to me because it's the only thing that I really own 100% to myself. If Twitter changes or YouTube changes, I lose control of my content. I have no control over Twitter or YouTube showing my content to people if they decide to change their algorithm. With an email list, I have full control over who I'm emailing and their ability to see what I email them. So this is something I really want to focus on. I think any new creator should really start with an email list. Even though you aren't using it as your primary platform, it's a really great thing to have. Now, last month, in terms of January, I ended the month at 450 email newsletter subscribers. That was an increase of 30 from the previous month. This is actually really big because it took me a long time to see these kind of growth numbers. For the longest time, I wasn't growing at all. But with the launch of my book club, that has really helped me increase my newsletter subscribers. I'm also trying to mention it more in my YouTube videos. People tend to be finding me more in my email list. So I've been seeing random people, 1 here and there every day, just join my email list. So I'm really happy about that. I also am really enjoying the content I'm posting on my email list every week. It's a great way for me to share the insights from books I'm reading, just general updates on my YouTube journey. Check that out if you haven't already. I share a lot of interesting behind the scenes stuff that I don't talk about here on YouTube. Lastly, I want to talk about some of my struggles and accomplishments for the month of January. This is the most important part to me because I really want to reflect on what went well and what didn't go well. The first thing I want to talk about is the book club that I started. A bit of context about this. This was not supposed to be a massive project that I did this year. In December, I ended up making a book club accidentally because I had this idea to start a bit of a book club community over email where I would email people every day some notes from a book I'm reading, but I got so much interest, I ended up making it into a full-fledged community where everyone can meet each other and comment and have discussions, and I'm so glad that happened. However, it was just so much work. I actually use an app to track where my time goes every single day when I work. In the month of January, I spent 34 hours just working on the book club community. That is between logistics and reading and writing the daily emails, participating in discussions. All of that work ended up being 34 hours of work. That's actually quite a bit of work for one project when I have so many other things going on. With the way the book club was going, I was not really in a sustainable place to make this work for the long term. Having to write a daily email and be a big part of the discussions every single day is just way too much work, and I had to make some hard choices, and I'm trying my best to simplify the book club experience while still making it an awesome place for everyone who's joined so far. Like I said before, I actually have earned some income from this, and I do think it's something I want to be part of my portfolio of products moving forward, but I just need it to be a smaller percentage of my work, not taking over everything I do. So the plan right now is to cut back feedback a little bit on how the book club works. I announced these changes already in the community, and I think it's being perceived pretty well. People are very understanding. I am no longer doing daily emails, but I am going to be putting more focus on the discussions and being more realistic about the books that we read. And I'm really excited because the people who are part of the book club, shout out to everyone who's watching this right now, everyone there is so amazing. The conversations that we're having are beyond my expectations. People get really into the discussions, and the books that we're reading are super informing, and we're learning a lot. It's a really wholesome community, and if you want to be a part of it, link down below for more information. I'm kind of tweaking things up around here and there. Every day I'm kind of experimenting with new ideas of how I want the book club to be, but for right now, if you want to join, you can join very easily. Link for that down below. The other thing I want to talk about is my struggles with Twitter. At the beginning of this year, I had a goal of tweeting something every single day. Now, I have been sticking with that, but I've changed my strategy a bit. I really wanted to have a weekly thread or some longer form content on Twitter where I was making very high quality content. The problem with that is it takes up a lot of time. And for the first week or two, I made some really great threads, and as much as I love them, they don't really get much attention when you don't have very many followers. And I know as part of the game, you have to put high quality content out there and eventually it'll be seen by more people, but I don't have the time to invest in Twitter right now. So what I'm doing instead is keeping it very easy. I just do one tweet every single morning and I schedule those out in advance, and those seem to be working just fine. I'm really focusing on making it a platform where I can add value in the easiest way possible without overdoing it for myself. One day I would really love to make Twitter threads on topics that I love, like Kindles and tips and things like that. Right now, I'm trying to do that without making it so complicated. And so far, it seems to be working really well. I am going to continue my goal for tweeting one thing every single day, but it won't be the same plan I had earlier. I'm not going to make this crazy content calendar or anything like that. I'm keeping it simple, just scheduling tweets out every week. Those were the two major struggles I had in January. Those were the things that really added a lot of pressure onto my plate and took up a lot of my time. But there are also two things that I want to call out as an accomplishment from January that I think are really going to change my life moving forward for the rest of this year and hopefully for years to come. The first thing I want to talk about is my new relationship with productivity. I ended 2021 by reading two very important books. One was Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, and the other was by Chris Bailey, his book called Hyper Focus. And now those two books are very, very similar in the way where they talk about removing distractions and using technology in a way where it helps you live a better life. And I have really, really needed those books because right now I am really, really good at taking technology in a way where it's not taking over my life, but I'm using it as a tool to help me get my goals accomplished. What I mean by that is I'm basically cutting out all the distractions in my life. I am no longer using social media passively. I only look at YouTube when I go to the gym now. I don't watch YouTube videos for fun anymore on my computer. I'm also not keeping my phone next to me wherever I can. I also don't use my phone in bed anymore. These really small life changes, these small little tiny habits I'm building around me are making a very big impact. These past couple of weeks, I've seen my ability to focus increase a lot. And I'm trying to take control of my tech, trying to take control of these distractions and be proactive about them instead of reactive. And so far, it's been working pretty well. And this actually leads me to my second accomplishment, which is directly related to this idea of limiting distractions. This month, I actually started writing a book. In January, one thing I decided to do was change my morning routine. I decided to not put my phone next to me anymore. I would no longer use my phone in bed. That was a big thing by itself. But secondly, I decided to get an alarm clock and put it against the wall on the other side of the room. So every morning, I have to get up to turn the alarm off. Now, when I first did this, it worked amazingly. I would get up and I would actually give myself a cup of coffee, a little snack, and I would sit down and just check some emails, social media, and just catch up on a few things before the day started. That was a great motivation for me to get up, and I did that for about a week without any issues. After that first week, though, I decided I wanted to change my relationship with emails because emails kept taking over my life, and I didn't want that to be something I did first thing in the morning. So instead of checking my emails, I decided to start a project about writing a book. Now, I'm writing a book right now about Kindles and how to use them to read more and live a more present life, and I'm actually making quite a bit of progress with it. I've stuck with this habit now for almost a month. Every single morning I write for an hour in this book, and it's really, really something I'm enjoying so much. And I think book writing is something I want to continue doing into the future because honestly speaking, anyone can write a book. It's something that anyone can do. Self-publishing is something that more people should be talking about, and I really, really want to emphasize the fact that anyone can write a book, and I really encourage you, if you're a writer of any kind, don't hesitate to do this because I'm really enjoying it. I love starting my days with this writing habit, and it's been working really well. I actually write updates about my book every single week in my newsletter, which I talked about before. Subscribe to the newsletter if you want to hear more about the book. But one thing I also want to shout out is a course I took, some random person I found on Twitter who's not so random anymore. I really appreciate his work. His name is Hassan, and he really has some really, really great content about self-publishing and writing a book on the side. I took a short course on Gumroad. I bought it and I really recommend it. Link for that down below too. I'm not affiliated with him or anything like that, but I want to recommend it in case you have this desire like I do to be a writer. I hope that course will help you like it did for me. Anyway, those are my updates for the month of January. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but I'm really excited for the months ahead, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how my new routine will play out in the months coming up. If you're interested in learning more about these monthly updates, check out the playlist I have linked on the screen right now. My goal is to make one of these videos every single month and really showcase transparently everything going on behind the scenes. I hope you found something useful in here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.